I always like to wave. Hi. How y'all doing? Woo, I was about to knock over my camera. How's it going? It's me, Robin. You know me from Firebird Touch Therapy. We got a new company coming out. It's called the Blue Buddha CBD. Yeah, but I've been asked to do some videos, and because I need constant attention, I thought I'd go live because it's hard to do it by yourself, right? So we have a product that I've been making since I was a little girl, and it is this product right here. It's called Firekitty. It's one of the most amazing things ever because the recipe of it, well, it's like 10,000 years old, and it's literally in the Bible. You can literally go and read about it in the Bible. They call it the Holy Anointing Oil. Maybe you heard about that guy Jesus who used to wash the feet of his disciples. Well, it was basically the Firekitty mix that he was using. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit about why I started making it and what it does and what are some of the cool ingredients in it. So, and then this is a way that you guys can ask questions if I go live as opposed to just doing an informational video. So Heather, you can always call Heather at our 1-800 numbers to tell you everything you want to know too. Okay, so Firekitty came about for two reasons. I had two people in my life that were very important to me. One, my sister Sue. And at the time, she's my older sister just by a little tiny bit. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and it was coming for her very hard, very fast. You know, she was beginning to lose her ability to speak after a certain time of day and walk. And, you know, this was very concerning for me. And the cannabis concentrate, the FECO oils that we make were just they were too strong for her. They were just knocking her out and making her sick. So they weren't a fit. She wasn't fighting cancer. She was having more of a neurological firestorm than anything. And then a dear friend of mine, who's also a midwife, gave birth to her daughter at her house in her bathtub, like any good midwife would. And the birth was fine, but it turned out the baby had the umbilical cord wrapped around its neck, and the brain hadn't fully developed. And, you know, she was told that her daughter wasn't going to live. She was having like 300 or more seizures a day. So the doctors were like, oh, you know, don't get too attached to your child. We're not really sure how long she's going to live. Well, I'm happy to say that that girl just turned 12 this year. All right, so doctors, they have a very limited scope of what they're allowed to say to us. So please, when a doctor tells you your timeline for life, please just understand that what they're doing is they're giving you what they have to by their ethics, so that if you do die during that time, your family can't sue them. And if you live past the expiration date they give you, well, who's going to be mad about that, right? So be kind to your doctors because they're just doing the best they can. Anyways, these two women, very important to me. I got a brand new baby. I got my sister. They're both neurological issues. So I started researching and looking through my grandmother's herbal books. Now, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm this big giant mix of genetic whatnot, basically. So my Persian grandmother, she had this recipe that she called the Fix-It, and that's basically what Firekitty is. It's a combination of different herbs. I'm going to go over each one of them with you, and they are infused into olive oil, and through that infusion with the cannabis. Now here's a little secret that y'all might not know about. When it comes to cannabis, on the medicine wheel of plants, everybody has a place, and all the plants that sit in the south, you know, they have certain medicines for us. North sitters have medicine, west, east, they all deal with the different aspects of us as a human. The center sitters are the catalysts for the rest of the wheel, and one of those catalysts, they're usually teacher plants that sit in the center. Okay, and a teacher plant is something like psilocybin, ayahuasca, peyote, and of course, cannabis, right? So this was our center sitter. This is a high yielding cannabidiol strain. right here that comes from the Trinity Mountain roots. So I was thinking about, you know, cannabis as a healer and all the other herbs. And then if you're familiar with this story called Lorenzo's Oil, well, Lorenzo's Oil was about a kid that had cancer whose family found a cure for him. And basically what that was olive oil. And the reason why olive oil is so helpful is it's so high in fat, and the high in fat part helps our neurons and our internal brain tissue all work together. So fat is good. Sugar is bad. Keep that in mind. Anyways, so I thought, okay, well, I've got this olive oil and I have this cannabis and I have this recipe from my grandmother that's got things like frankincense. This is what frankincense tears look like. I don't know how I can show them to you on the camera. They're, let me see if I can try that. Is that better? Yeah. So this is basically the sap from the frankincense tree. Now, the most amazing thing about frankincense and the Firekitty is that it also has myrrh. Now, frankincense and myrrh are two trees that grow in the Middle East, but they're very different, and these are just the saps. So the frankincense is very light, and then this is the myrrh right here. You see it's a much richer, I'll talk about the 4-to-1. That's another video, okay? So come back later. Anyway, so we're on Firekitty today. 4-to-1's a different story. So the frankincense and myrrh together are the saps that come from these trees. So it makes them, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard about how frankincense is really helpful for combating cancers. So is myrrh. Right? Now they work with your olfactory sense. So I thought, okay, frankincense, myrrh, those are good things. And then I thought about like, well, what else is going on in the nerve system, you know? And the plant that came up was, maybe you know it as marigold, but we know it as calendula. Now I love calendula because it's so good for your skin, and it's so, it's nice and it's fruity and it's flowery and it's really emulsifying, and it's very nurturing and good for, where did my brain go? It's really wonderful for hydrating your system. And then what's this stuff? Well, we got to warm up the blood, don't we? So a great antiviral, antioxidant, antimicrobial, anti-everything is this baby. Rosemary, not just for your turkeys, okay? Rosemary is amazing at heating up your blood and helping all of the things that don't belong in it to kind of skedaddle on the way. And the next ingredient, my favorite, cinnamon. Now, a cinnamon stick this long could have multiple purposes for all you bad boys and girls, right? Want to heat them up? But the great thing about cinnamon is it snaps and it becomes smaller, and every time you break it, you release that wonderful smell. Now, if you don't know this about cinnamon, I want you to know that it's a bark. Okay, cinnamon is the bark of the cinnamon tree. So we're using, rosemary is great for memory. Let me try and stick it up my nose. That might be helpful. Wow. Heather, I'm going to have to make a wreath of this and wear it constantly in hopes that it will help me think. So that's part of, like, you know, also, hey, anyone who's watching this feed, I highly suggest you follow Heather Duro because she's way smarter than me and is such an awesome herbalist. So make sure you follow her little name and then go to her page and follow her because she's really smart. All right. So these are the things that make up Firekitty. Frankincense. Maybe you guys know, like, who got frankincense when they were born? Jesus, right? Remember the wise men? They brought him frankincense, myrrh, and gold. All right. Why did they bring Jesus frankincense, myrrh, and gold? Well, obviously, Jesus did not need money. All right. Gold is a super metal that feeds our entire system and makes us strong. Because, you know, if you didn't know this, you're a mineral. You are just minerals and salts. That's all you are. You are the same concoction as the stars. That is what you are. So frankincense, myrrh, rosemary for memory, and also everything else that it does. Cinnamon to heat up the blood, and calendula for the skin. Infused into olive oil. I'm going to dump this out because my bowl. Just the smell alone is great. Now, when I was a little girl, my grandmother, my Nana, her name was Navart, she spoke like 9 languages, and she spoke them congruently. So she would speak Farsis, Armenian, English, French, and whatever else she wanted to throw in there, you know, a little bit of English sometimes. That would be like one sentence, all those languages. So I never really knew what she was talking about, but I always knew that I had to stay next to her and not talk. That was the message that I got. Just listen. So luckily for me, she was very, very demanding that I learn this medicine. So when Firekitty is infused, now for years and years and years, I would put it in giant jars like this, amber, and then we would sit it in the sun and turn it every day for 30 days. So, you know, when I went from making medicine that was this size, you know, in a gallon jug, which I did for, I don't know, 20 plus years, right, to making it in vats, where we're at now, I wanted to be able to duplicate that sun thing that happens, how it heats up slowly during the day and then it cools down at night. So through a lot of science and my awesome chemist, whose name is Panther, we created the same temperature of the sun to go through our process. And we still, like Firekitty still infuses for well over 10 days to get that, to try to duplicate that 30-day in the sun, full moon cycle. The reason why you do for 30 days is a full moon cycle. If you don't understand the moon cycles, Google them. They're very important because you are, like I said, all you are is a star. So you are water to matter, just like the earth and the planet. And the way the moon is going is the way that you are going. So you are waning and waxing the same way. And when you follow the moon cycles and you make medicine in the congruent with them, you heighten the reality of the plant medicine because you bring into it the entire structure of the moon cycle. So once this is infused forever, it comes out to this beautiful, beautiful amber color. Can you guys see that? That's what it looks like. And it smells so amazing. And because of the frankincense and myrrh, it is really, really viscous and rich. So it's great for any kind of skin issue, like burns, melanomas. How we treated this baby that I'm talking about is we used it orally. You know, Firekitty is oral and topical, so you can take it internally as well as use it topically. And it does amazing things. You know, people, they send me pictures of what it's done to their skin in a 30-day period. I had one client, took her 8 weeks to get through it, but she had a full breakout on her face from a melanoma, and applying Firekitty twice a day for 2 months, it went down to nothing. And you could go on our websites and you can see all these things. But I just wanted to come live for just a quick little minute and share with you how amazing plant medicine actually is. How it's all stuff that you can do in your own home. You don't need to purchase it. You can get your own amber gallon jar and your own olive oil and your own herbs that you want, and mix them all together, shake them all up, turn them once a day for an entire moon cycle. And then the most important thing, and you cannot forget this step, people, is that you need to strain it. If you are making your own medicine with plants, especially cannabis and fats like olive oil, butter, coconut oil, if you do not strain the plant material, you will mold your medicine. You will make mold. Fat will mold. So you want to really spend a lot of time, like do this step multiple times to get all of the plant material out of the fat, out of your carrier, to make sure that you don't mold it, because that's just crucial for you guys. So again, each one of these herbs on their own is phenomenal. You know, I mean, we have frankincense and myrrh, which were good enough for Jesus, so they're good enough for you, right? And calendula, which is wonderful internally and externally for hydrating your skin. And the cinnamon, which heats you up internally, right? Because you have to be fat burning from within. If you go out there and you work out and you run around and you do whatever and you get yourself all sweaty, you're not necessarily fat burning from within. All right, so it takes special like herbs and stuff to get us to really get that visceral fat to burn. And one of those that do that is cinnamon. And then again, our memory plant, Rosemary. Rosemary is so amazing just on its own. You know, if you're having problems because it's winter and you can't breathe, you know, your sinuses are bothering you, you're not feeling well, you might have been exposed to that coronavirus we've been talking about. This is a wonderful plant to help you breathe. And it's really, you can even go to your grocery store and buy it in the herb section. That's how powerful rosemary is. And then boil some water and just dump the little spines inside of the water. Cover your, turn it off so you don't burn yourself. And then cover your head and breathe in all of that wonderful, wonderful aromatic scent. It's going to open up your entire nasal cavity. It's going to open up your lungs. It's going to make you feel a lot better. It's going to reduce the inflammation in your head, which will give you no headache if you have one. All right. So that is what Firekitty is. This is how my daughters tease me that she looks like a vixen, but you know, I'm from the 80s rock scene, and she's actually an avatar for fighting childhood cancer. That's what she really is. So, you know, you got to be a badass to fight cancer. You need to have a bustier, and you need a lasso of fiery cannabis leaves to get it done. So I really appreciate you guys for, you know, reaching out to me and asking me all these questions about these products that we make. We're going to be doing, this is kind of a practice video so I can actually do the video I'm supposed to do, about everything that we're doing, because, you know, knowledge is power. And something at my company, Firebird Touch Therapy, we want to make sure that you are empowered with knowledge so that you can go and do whatever you need to do for yourself. So you're never at the effect of commerce. You're never in a place where you can't take care of yourself, because there's nothing here on the planet that you yourself can't do. So be powerful, learn, use Google, buy a book, ask a question. Remember, fat is good, sugar is bad. You know, make your own Firekitty. You can get some from us. It's the holy anointing oil. Every time you put it, it's so good, and its secret power, the piece that's in none of our marketing, but I'm going to tell you here today. So only you people who are watching this video, all 7 of you are going to know this. This is the best lube ever created. For sure. Okay, somebody once sent me a video of time lapse of herpes. Yes, it's true. Of genital herpes. That's why it said has to do with sex. Anyways, I have to share this though. They had a very bad outbreak of genital herpes, and they did a time lapse using Firekitty, and in 14 hours that herpes outbreak was gone. Totally gone. Looks like I have something on my nose. And that's the great thing about it, is you can just rub it on your face and you immediately feel good. So it's just wonderful for taking care of your skin, and really amazing for an anti-spasmodic, anti-seizure, anti-cancer, anti all the things you don't want. So, for sure. Oh, it's great for sexual trauma. And if you have sexual trauma, please deal with it and heal it, because that is the core of who you are, is your sexuality. So understand it, embrace it. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for listening to my little video. Make sure you share it. Firekitty is her name. Here she is again. You know, get yourself some olive oil. Make sure it's as clean as it can be, which means that it would be organic if you could get it, and virgin. Okay, you can leave everything in it, because that's what makes it so good, is the virgin. You know, that means that it hasn't been, when something is a virgin oil, it means that they've only pressed it once. They haven't pressed it and cleaned it and pressed it and cleaned it and pressed it and cleaned it. Yes, it'd be excellent for shingles. This is excellent for shingles. Absolutely. It will take the pain away immediately. If you are living with shingles, then you want to use it orally and topically, because that is a systemic issue, shingles. That means it's happening from the inside of your nervous system. It's not an external problem. So you have to treat it inside as well as outside. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great day. See you later.